Hey everyone, I'm Jeff, the head of marketing here at A2X, e-commerce accounting automation software for the world's leading Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and Walmart sellers, as well as their accounting partners.
Hey everyone, Asher with the Settle team. Really excited to be here with A2X today. At Settle, we help brands order, manage, and pay for their inventory.
So many of you know that in addition to helping you accurately and automatically reconcile payouts, A2X also offers some lightweight COGS functionality. But now with our integration to Settle, we're bringing you real-time, fully burdened COGS without the spreadsheets or the guesswork. So if you're watching this video, you're likely curious about how it all comes together and works. So stick with us for the next few minutes and see it for yourself. All right, so before we get into the demo, we'll do a quick overview of each solution to set the stage and then jump into the integration. So if you're an e-commerce business owner or an accounting professional supporting one, you've likely experienced the pain of trying to reconcile a payout from one of your sales channels in QuickBooks or Xero. And the reason this is a pain is because of the deposit you see on the bank feed is made up of so much more than just your sales. A payout is usually made up of your gross sales minus your fees, your refunds, your gift cards, your taxes, and so much more. And if you're not accounting accurately for all of these different transactions, you have limited insight into profitability and business performance, and you could be over or underpaying your VAT or your sales tax. The reality, unfortunately, is that most businesses that aren't using A2X are left with three decisions. One is they can ignore it altogether and not account for their sales. Definitely would not recommend that approach. The other is to create a best guess entry. We have many e-commerce businesses that come to A2X and they're recording those deposits as sales. So not breaking out all of those individual transactions that make up those payouts. And then the last option is to actually do all of that categorization manually. So to take all of that uncategorized data and to use a spreadsheet to appropriately categorize it and then reconcile in your general ledger. Now, as you can imagine, that approach is incredibly time consuming and quite error prone. This is precisely why A2X was designed and built, to accurately automate payout reconciliation and COGS tracking for sellers on Amazon, Shopify, eBay, Etsy, Walmart. So think of A2X as the bridge between your sales channels and your accounting software. We pull all of the unstructured data and then we auto-categorize it into accurate summaries that span the right time periods for accrual accounting. And we break down all of your sales, fees, refunds, gift cards, and more into these summaries. They're then posted to QuickBooks or Xero, and they match the deposit on the bank feed so that you can achieve one-click reconciliation. When you open up your P&L after using A2X, you'll have a detailed view of how your sales channels are performing, how your geographies are performing, and so much more. A2X is not only loved by e-commerce businesses for helping them save a tremendous amount of time and for providing them with accurate financials, but it's also beloved by the world's leading e-commerce accounting professionals. We even won Xero's Practice App of the Year in Canada and the United Kingdom in 2024. We host the world's only e-commerce accounting conference called Camp A2X. And we support over 13,000 e-commerce businesses and thousands of accountants and bookkeepers. And as mentioned previously, A2X also provides lightweight COGS functionality, made so much better with our new integration with Settle. Asher, over to you.
Thanks, Jeff. And that's why we're really excited to be here teaming up with you, because we've heard great things from our customer base about how much they love A2X. So I want to give you a background on what Settle does and how A2X and Settle meet in the middle. So Settle is a unified platform to empower the fastest CPG brands in the industry to help them grow fearlessly. And the way we do that is by helping them manage, order, and pay for their inventory. But before we go into what we actually do to help these brands, I just want to show you a few brands that have been with us along the journey. These are the brands that made the switch to Settle and that we've been lucky enough to be a part of their growth story. We've seen them start from small operations, growing into the massive omni-channel operations that they are today. And we've had such a pleasure meeting every single one of these founders and working with them along the journey. Also, we've had the pleasure to be trusted by many more brands. We serve over 1,000 folks, and we've been in operations for over 5 years. They trust us with moving over $2.5 billion a year on their behalf, managing 1.3 million SKUs, and issuing 48,000 POs annually. And we're just getting started. We're really excited about the feature set that we have to offer them so that we can continue to grow and revolutionize the back office of smaller brands. So I want to walk you through why these brands use Settle. The problem that we saw back in 2019 was that a lot of folks are using a scattered tech stack. They have inventory in spreadsheets, bill payments in bill.com, they have their inventory management in another tool, and none of these softwares talk to each other. And because of that, two key concepts were disconnected: inventory and money movement. And when you put those together, you're able to answer some of the most complex questions that an inventory brand is trying to solve for. And that's what we do for these folks. We've taken 4 disparate tool sets and put it in one platform. We have top of the line inventory management, where you can see your inventory levels tracked across multiple 3PLs in one place. We can predict when you need to buy more inventory. We can tell you if you have enough money to afford that inventory, and if not, we can help you take out flexible financing around that. Looking at the second category here, procurement, you can place POs directly in Settle, and you can even make payment deposits on those purchase orders, which blends the concepts of bill payment and procurement. And then finally, with working capital, you can finance those deposits to extend your runway and push out the cash conversion cycle to allow yourself time to sell that inventory. At Settle, we believe that these aren't 4 different software solutions. In fact, they should be one, because money and inventory impact each other, and you are missing key insights by keeping them separate. And that's what we're really excited about with this partnership with A2X. We're able to calculate the landed costs, which are used to calculate profitability, because we have both inventory levels and money in one place. And I want to show you really quick how you can do that in Settle by just using our normal workflow. These are the key elements in Settle's platform. You can place purchase orders, you can pay a deposit on that, you then get the inventory bill and can pay it with the Settle working capital you have access to, or pay via your bank account. But with that workflow, there'll be many other additional expenses that are attached along the way. For example, tariffs or shipping, or if you're expediting that shipping. All of those expenses can be paid in Settle. And what we do really well is linking those additional expenses back to the original purchase order. And when we link it back, we can automatically calculate your landed costs, the true costs it costs your business to get that inventory. And that is the key calculation to calculate your inventory valuation and your COGS, which is why we are so excited to work with A2X to bring those values to your accounting software.
Asher, I love the Settle overview. It's almost as if you're responsible for building the product as the product manager, and you know what you're talking about. So that was awesome. Do you mind kind of going over the problem that we've identified from e-commerce businesses, as well as the accounting and bookkeeping professionals that support them, that inspired us to work on an integration together?
Yeah, absolutely. I spent probably too much time thinking about this. The reason this is important is because brands need to be profitable. That's growth. That is what founders care about. And that's what we're here to help with. Now, when you think about profitability, you need to be making more revenue than what you are expensing. And the way to calculate how much your expenses are at the end is to know the true landed costs of your product. If you know that that item, that inventory item, costs you $10 to pay for, once you account for all the expenses to get it into your warehouse, only then can you say, how much did I profit on this inventory item? Now, when we talked to our customer base and asked, how confident are you in your profit margins? The majority said 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. They could produce a number, but they didn't feel good about it. And they wondered if they were mispricing their product, if they were valuating their inventory incorrectly, and also if they were posting the right COGS to their software. And that's what led to this partnership here where we said, at Settle, we're confident we can get you a good calculation of your landed costs, but we're going to go to the industry best at putting that into the accounting software. And that's where the partnership with A2X was born.
I'm blushing
So,
here. Thank you.
so let's actually talk about how we do that calculation and why it's so smooth and Settle. So the way folks are calculating their landed costs today are they have a big spreadsheet and they place a purchase order. That purchase order is going to take 90 days to be fulfilled and officially finally billed. And over those 90 days, the small business is having to pay for all these different fees. They pay for their tariffs, they pay for shipping. And over these 90 days, they're constantly logging into this spreadsheet and typing in all of those additional expenses. And they just need to have that discipline to go in there to make that calculation because they know in the end they're going to have to enter this into A2X and put this into to help them put this into their accounting software. Now, that's a 90-day period for one purchase order, but many of these brands are placing tens of purchase orders a month, especially as you get to the bigger scale, you could be seeing massive volume, and that is a really error-prone issue that folks are running into because if they don't have accurate COGS, they're misrepresenting their numbers, and no one wants to be in that situation. So what we did at Settle is we took that workflow that they're already doing, and we are saying, as you are accruing expenses related to those purchase orders that you've already placed in Settle, we're tracking everything for you. We know you paid that tariff bill. We know you paid for that shipping, and we automatically link it back to that purchase order so that we can pass those straight to A2X. And that's what's so exciting. This whole industry has been doing like tedious manual work, and now there's a solution out there that can do it all for you while you're running your business. And that's what I'm excited to show you all today.
So to recap, for business owners and accounting professionals that are currently using A2X to automate payout reconciliation from their sales channels into their accounting software, as well as using A2X to post COGS, you no longer have to do that manually in A2X. If you're using Settle, A2X will pull the landed costs and then post that with the payout into your general ledger so that you're not only reconciling your payouts and getting a good financial view of how your sales channels are performing, but you're also getting the corresponding COGS so that you can have a better understanding of the profitability of each of those channels, to your earlier point. Asher, I'd love if you can actually drill in and show us how this works in practice.
Yeah, I'd love to. All right, so we're logged into an A2X account, and in this scenario, we already have QuickBooks and Shopify connected. Now, if this is your first time pushing COGS to your accounting software from A2X, you're going to have to do a quick setup. And that would be clicking Settings in the top right, clicking Cost of Goods Sold, and mapping your accounts to how you want them to sync over to QuickBooks. So in this scenario, I highly recommend doing Cost of Goods Sold and Inventory Assets, but this is up to you and how you want to approach your accounting. Once done, press Save, and then we will proceed with connecting Settle. So once you've passed that point, click Costs at the top. You'll see a list of SKUs that were imported from Shopify. You'll also notice that the column under Costs is empty, and this is what we need to populate so that A2X can post COGS to your accounting software. Now, historically, you would have had to come in here and type in the costs of each SKU every time your costs changed. And that was really tedious, especially for brands with large catalogs. Now, what's beautiful about Settle is that costs are calculated automatically as you are placing purchase orders and paying for them. And then Settle is updating A2X on a regular daily basis so that your costs are always up to date in A2X, and therefore that means always up to date in QuickBooks. Now, I want to show you how this works. So if you don't have a Settle account, you'll have to make one, but that's really easy through this button up here called Settle. But if you do have a Settle account, which is what we will show you how to do, you can click Sync with Settle, and then you will see a screen where you can authorize straight into the account you already have. In this scenario, we want to press Authorize, and you'll see Settle import the costs directly into A2X. Now that costs live in A2X and are updated on a daily basis, you can scroll to the top, click Payouts, and here we want to refresh these recent payouts so they have the latest costs. So let's click Refresh, and we'll give it a quick second. And now they're ready to post to QuickBooks. So let's take a look at this one, and we can see that the order is ready to send over, and we can press Send to QuickBooks. Also, you'll want to send your cost of goods sold to QuickBooks as well. Once you're in QuickBooks, you're going to go to Reports and then find the Profit and Loss report. I'm looking at an example here in the time period we just synced over. Now, keep in mind, this is test data for this demo, but what you can see here is that A2X has posted the data to QuickBooks. So let's actually dive in to confirm that the COGS were posted correctly. So I'm going to click this, and we're going to see the exact journal entry that A2X posted over. So it is right here, and we can dive in and see that they have debited cost of goods sold and credited inventory assets. So that's great. Now let's jump over to our balance sheet. And similarly here, we can see that A2X has posted as well. And we're going to dive into inventory assets. And we can see that A2X has posted, let me just adjust this range real quick. Cool. So this is the journal entry that A2X has posted here. We can look at it more closely, and you can see that they have debited cost of goods sold and credited inventory assets. So as you can tell, A2X is a very powerful tool with posting your accounting data to your accounting software. And what helps augment that in an even better and more powerful way is calculating those costs in Settle.
Okay, so Asher, that was awesome. I want to thank you for showing us how the integration works, and then also for being a big part of building it. But I want to point back to a quote here from a good friend of mine, Stephen Brown from Ledger Gurus, who provided a lot of the inspiration actually for the integration. As we mentioned earlier, this was a pull from the market. So business owners as well as accounting partners were asking for something like this, which is where the integration was born. Stephen Brown and I had a conversation about this at Scaling New Heights in 2024. And he was telling me, you guys you have to talk to Settle. You have to talk to Settle. And luckily we did and found that there was incredible alignment between both teams, especially as it related to this problem area. And Stephen makes a really great point here. Settle's A2X integration solves one of the great problems in inventory and COGS accounting, correlating sales to landed product cost. Using this integration, companies will automatically have accurate sales and cost of goods sold for corresponding periods. And I think what you've demonstrated shows that in totality. And just, another friendly shout out to Stephen Brown at Ledger Gurus. Thanks for the inspiration. Asher, do you mind walking us through at the highest of levels, if people want to get started on this integration, how they can go about doing so?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually pretty straightforward. You're going to need an A2X account and a Settle account. If you are new to Settle, you should go to our website, settle.com, and to create an account, totally free. Everything you've seen in this demo is free from the Settle side. And then on the A2X side, they have a great free trial program to get set up and start testing things out. Once you have those two connected, there's just 4 key steps you need to do. You need to connect the two platforms, which there's a flow, as you saw in the demo, super easy, super fast. You'll need to enable COGS in A2X, begin posting, and then you're off to the races to get accurate financial statements in your accounting software. So really quick, highly recommend doing it. It's a great way to keep your business up to date with accurate financials and understanding your profitability.
And something else that's pretty cool is both A2X and Settle offers free onboarding. So if you need help getting started on either solution, you're not at it alone. You can just book a session with one of our onboarding specialists and we'll help you along the way. Which is a good segue into the end of this video. If you do want to get in touch with A2X or Settle For A2X, please contact us at contact@a2xaccounting.com or chat with us on the website. All you have to do is go to a2xaccounting.com, click on the little chat bubble at the bottom right, and you'll get connected with one of our human support agents. And then for Settle, it is support@settle.co. Asher, really excited to be working with you and really excited to be providing our collective e-commerce businesses as well as accounting and bookkeeping partners with accurate payout reconciliation and COGS accounting and purchase ordering and capital and so much more. Who knows what the future is going to hold?
Amazing. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to watch these brands grow.